Triple Shot Mindset.
So the Persian New Year is coming to an end. We had 13 great days of celebration.
Great.
Started on March 20th, 19th actually, spring equinox. And usually the 2 weekends after the New Year, we get in a park and we celebrate and we throw the grass that we've grown in dishes into rivers, symbolizing new life beginning somewhere downstream. Okay. And it got me thinking about certain things about relationships, right? In that my dad brought over, so we set up this table, Persian people do, and we put 7 things that start with the letter S, which, by the way, my grandfather used to say that's not what the 7 S's stand for. The 7 S's should be 7 different seeds. You take 7 different seeds like barley, wheat, whatever. You grow them into these dishes by spraying them with water every day. Once they sprout up, 13 days later, 14 days later, you put them in the river or a stream, and these things carry on somewhere and they start a farm somewhere. So that was the original 7 S's, 7 seeds. But then it got interpreted into 7 things that start with S, like cigarettes.
That's supposed to the C.
Well, in Farsi.
Oh.
No, they don't put cigarettes, but they put like apple starts with an S. A coin starts with an S. Even a freaking chair starts with an S.
What was at your table this year?
Well, my dad brought garlic, apple, and those, by the way, all start with S.
Got it.
Garlic, apple, sombol, which is a very shallow-rooted flower, and a bunch of other things. And he told me to add vinegar and sumac to it to complete it, and I don't do vinegar.
I know.
Yeah. But it got me thinking. This whole thing got me thinking about a relationship. I know, right? In that flower,
The shallow-rooted
flower, you plant the seed literally like a month prior to March. And then you have this flower come out this tall. And
because in essence, it's just like an onion.
yeah, it's like the root is like a little onion.
It's that little onion.
Right? And after the first week, it falls over. Everyone's house, the thing falls over. Because the way it grew doesn't match the root system.
Why is that?
Just say,
Ask God.
right?
I'll do that.
So,
I did.
thank you. So, the reason I thought about that, and then I talked about the Chinese bamboo. It takes 5 years for the roots to start, permeating out and like creating this nice foundation before it starts shooting up, is because it symbolizes relationships based on either love at first sight / chemistry and love based on connection. So the fact that this flower in a month grows 8 and 9 inches, becomes top heavy and falls down, is because as nice as it looks, it only has a 4 or 5 day period that's really like holding yourself up and everything looks nice. But the second it gets too heavy, it falls down and everyone just throws it away. Or they just toss it in the backyard hoping it'll grow. Is that the root is so shallow, right?
Sorry.
So when I talk to people who talk about, we had great chemistry, it's always in the past. We had great chemistry. We fell in love. He has the most gorgeous eyes. He has the most kissable lips. She has the most wonderful ass. Those are all attributes that deal with your hormones, the chemistry, right? And if you base something on that, you want to build a long-lasting, healthy, deep-rooted relationship with someone, those shouldn't be what you peg your whatever on. So I talk to people who say we had chemistry. Oh, he had the most whatever. But now they fucking sleep in different bedrooms. Now one of them does something, the other one does something completely different. They hate each other deep down. They don't connect on anything other than sex talk from 20 years ago, memories from 20 years ago. On the other side, people who, I mean, they do have chemistry. They must have had chemistry to just attract and be in the same room together. But the ones who start building that root, just like that Chinese bamboo does, I think what can come out of that is extraordinary. And I've gotten pushbacks from people who are in relationships because of the chemistry. And they're fighting tooth and nail. Oh, no, chemistry is the most important thing. But yeah, I sleep in a different room and we hate each other. And, you know, we've fucking talked divorce 10 times in the past 5 years. Versus those people who have a wonderful relationship. They have the compatibility. They have the connection to make this, the root grow first. And then the thing sprouting out after that. I think those are relationships that can outlast the test of time. And when I tell that to people, I think a lot of them don't have the patience to connect nowadays. And in my previous podcast, mere 5 minutes ago, the reason I do a lot of background work, detective work, is that if I want to connect with someone, I don't want it to be surface level. Like I literally show up, like if someone tells me, come to my house, pick me up at 7 o'clock, I get there at 6:30. I want to know how they look like without the makeup. I want to see what they go through when they're saying goodbye to their kids. Like that to me is more important than how you look coming into the car, all made up, no word about the kids, no word about anything. So I like to see people in their primal, habitat. So many times friends or people who have dated the Antoinettes, the this and that. Yes, I said it. They tell me come at 7 o'clock to pick me up because that's when they're going to be ready. Their face is going to be ready. The kids are going to be shut down in a room behind the garage with like a babysitter. Like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah. The mask is on.
The mask is
So
on.
you do show up an hour earlier, 30 minutes early.
30 minutes, yeah.
And that makes you save money because then you're out of there. You're like, oh my God, you look hideous. I'm out.
No.
Oh,
See,
okay.
the whole thing about that flower concept was I tried to connect with them
As a human being.
the realness. And I think that is connection. Like if you can be with someone who is in their most undone face, she's wearing, pants that have like, tabbouleh stains on it, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
If you can like find commonalities and connection in that versus going out to a 5-star restaurant and having, steak and like fake laughs and fake veneers, to me, that's going to be short-lived. That's why a lot of my friends who do go with that notion, I'm going to clean my car. And I used to do that, by the way.
No more?
No. Past 3 times I've gone out, the car looks like shit, but I'm like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
The kid stuff is in the back rolling around like there's a bottle of water, half drunk water.
Yeah.
Just rolls around every time I
I'm
make
glad
a
it's
left turn.
water this time.
Right. But the concept for me, after seeing these poor flowers just get tossed
Yeah. Chucked into the...
into the trash can, and if you go down a Persian living street, like in Newport, Irvine, wherever they live, you see all these flowers all over the place, like they've thrown out.
It's kind of like the Christmas trees.
Yeah, it's disposable. But I thought to myself, if these actually grew, it took them like a year to grow to the beauty that they are, they wouldn't get tossed. People would actually say, okay, let me replant it somewhere else.
They value it.
They value it. And also it would be more strong. Structure would be stronger because it wouldn't topple over.
Yeah.
So my concept, again, chemistry, great. You need it to ignite the fire. Everyone does. But if that's all you have going for you, it's going to topple
Yeah,
over.
you're fucked.
Yeah.
Do you think chemistry is only physical?
Well, I think the fact that your hormones are going and you get the dopamine rush for like, all those things. There has to be a little bit more than just physical.
What if the dopamine rush is not necessarily coming from your beep,
Yeah.
but
What if
it's coming from
your
like somewhere here and
like
here?
a fantasy, for instance.
No, because I've gone out with women before that I thought, wow, this is great chemistry because over here it felt good.
Where's there? Your chest?
Heart,
Your heart's
corazón.
beating.
Nipple?
Corazón.
Your left nipple is hard.
So, okay, so you felt good because you felt chemistry from here.
From physical.
From there. But
So what's
that
wrong with
wasn't real love. That was a lack. I had a lack of love for myself, and someone else was going to complete that for me.
So, Master, do you think that you could have that feeling, but it's not because of your lack, it's because of the person you've met, and you're like, wow, you know what a kind spirit. I feel connected to them.
Well, that
somehow.
doesn't sound like chemistry. That sounds like anxiety.
It is anxiety. And some people take excitement as anxiety or vice versa. They take anxiety. They say, oh, this
But
must
it's
be
not.
exciting.
But chemistry is not anxiety.
No, it shouldn't be. Chemistry is like you feel like, but I think to most people, and I was reading about this a couple nights ago when I was laying in bed.
When you were
contemplating,
awake, constructing
contemplating.
the future.
Is that a lot of people, they take chemistry, which is a physical thing, mainly physical thing. They get, they have fantasies about the other person. They want to jump their bones. They want to do all that stuff, right? That is chemistry. They can't stop thinking about their luscious lips. Like, these are all physical attributes. No one goes home, my God, I can't believe that guy's intellect about.
You do. You go
I
home.
do.
So how
I
is
said
that
most
not
people
chemistry?
But I have to.
It's intellectual chemistry, but it's chemistry nonetheless.
And that was my point. There's probably different kinds of chemistry.
Yeah, different kinds of chemistry.
Yeah, but
hormonal chemistry, it talks, is down here.
Yeah. I think love at first sight was a thing that was made up in Disney movies and perpetuated by the media, that this is how it is. And if people don't have that, they think there's something wrong and this is not the right person for them. If I constantly see, if I had a daughter 10 years old, let's say, and she kept on watching Cinderella and Snow White, and everyone gets rescued by a charming,
Not Mulan,
Prince.
man.
Except Mulan. I was going to say Mulan's different.
but they get rescued by these men on horseback in shining armor. That's what they're going to think to themselves, that if a nice guy comes around and he wants to build a connection over time, over the next 3 months, he wants to build a connection, get to know you, that's not exciting anymore. But a bad boy who screeches out of the parking lot with his Mustang and has 2 ear piercings and 5 tattoos.
2 ear piercings on one ear or
On one
on
ear.
each?
One ear.
Okay,
Oh.
that does make a difference.
That to them
That's a big difference.
seems like, oh, wow, he's exciting. So that's why I'm
So
saying
that's just a demented mind thinking that, dude.
majority of people
Demented
are
mind.
demented.
Can we say that?
No, we don't want to say that. But most people, they've been programmed to think that excitement or anxiety wrapped up as excitement is chemistry.
But past a certain point in adult life, I believe programming is a choice.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You can program a 5-6-year-old, but when you are a human of the world and you've been around 25, 35, 45, 55 years, I'm just saying, at that point, if you still believe in that, that is a decision.
That is a decision.
choice.
It's a sickness.
But I think it serves a purpose. I do believe that some people want to stay immature. I do believe that some people want to remain in the victim position. I do believe that a lot of women feel most powerful as victims and as spinning the narrative that everything happens to them and they can't. Actually, I can't say it's just women. I know an equal or more men in that exact same boat. So I wouldn't be so quick to blame it on programming, although I agree that that's not helpful. But I think some people rely on the chemistry because they want the relationship for entertainment purposes, not for connection purposes. They craft the date that you're talking about where you pull up, they say, be there at 7. I don't want you to see me without makeup on. I don't want you to see the kids. We're going to go concoct or construct an experience. I'm in it for the entertainment. And then when that's over, they're not interested anymore. If you're truly looking for someone, which you are, who values connection, you will suss out pretty quickly who's in it for entertainment versus who's in it for connection. It cannot be faked either way.
No.
But you really have to know what you want. And obviously you want the connection.
I do want the connection, but I know that connection lasts longer. Like if your friends, like if Kevin and I got married one day, or you and I
To
got
one another?
married, or
Yeah.
all three of us got married together.
I like that.
Because we were friends first and we respect and love each other on a different level, even if we decide to get married, it's going to be based on many different variables.
But chemistry, I would say, is the biggest one. In my opinion, this group has chemistry. It does. That's how we're able to create stories. That's how we're able to talk for hours. That's how we're
4
able...
hours, not 5 hours or 3 hours.
For many hours. That's how we're able to have a psychic link. I don't know about you, but I can be
Yes.
42 miles away and I can be like, oh, Artie's thinking about this. Or Kevin's stressed out this week.
I should
Don't
wear my
even have to
aluminum
talk
foil
to
hat
you.
then. Tinfoil
No,
hat.
I'm connecting to the heart. You've got to wrap the chest.
chakra.
Wrap the anahata chakra. So that's chemistry, but I don't define it as physical chemistry necessarily. I say that there's an intellectual and a spiritual chemistry.
Yeah.
And so that's where I take issue with this idea of chemistry is just going to fizzle out and disappear and you can't rely on it. I think we're writing it off too quickly.
Okay.
I think physical chemistry does fizzle.
Yeah.
Emotional, mental, heart, those things last for a very long time.
Unfortunately, most people I know, most women I've dated, most friends I have still left from yesteryear, they value that initial sexual chemistry.
Because they live in a romance novel fantasy.
It's for the entertainment.
Right.
They want the rush.
So that becomes what they value. Because if I value that rush and I think that's love and the guy bangs me after my first date and, you know, drives a Porsche, to her or to him, that is, wow, this is exciting. I could live this life for a while.
Well, that's pretty adolescent mentality.
It is.
Yeah.
But we still have those
Very
45-year-olds, 55-year-olds, 35-year-olds.
They can still
going
be
after
Yeah,
after
let
that.
them roll with that, man.
No, but unfortunately, when you are embedded into these dating apps and you're looking at purely from a coach perspective, not from a man perspective looking for a woman, you look at these people differently. I swear to God, I look at these profiles differently than 99% of the people on the planet. I look at it from, here are the people who have trauma. Here are the people who have issues like being by themselves. Here are the people who don't have self-love. And you can tell that by a number of things, by how they've like described themselves or what they want. And if you go out saying, I want lips that I want to kiss for the rest of my life, I want someone who has like ambitions to go to Aruba every fucking 2 days.
What's that?
It's a country.
Aruba, it's a country. It's it's an island country.
Nice.
But then you have like that is what you want.
Right.
But then 1%, very rare, that you see people say, I want a meaningful connection. I want to be able to sit down with someone and talk to them for hours on end and say, where the heck did the time go?
And what's the problem with this? Sorry.
Also, the problem with it
Okay.
is because now we're in an age where fathers can't be fathers to their children. They live that fantasy. Oh, she's hot, she's cute. Let me kiss those lips. You make a baby and then you run away to the next one that has beautiful lips because now the body of that woman no longer looks like what you met. So there's a lot of problems, I think, from this. What are you doing there?
He's got a call coming in.
There's a lot
Do
of
you know who it's
problems
from?
with
Scott Cooper.
Ooh,
hoops.
Do you know any Scott Coopers?
Nope.
that's a solid name, though.
Yeah, it is solid.
It's very Mad Men.
Well, the problem with that is now you have kids. These are kids.
Yeah, you
now.
never mature
The
up.
mentality is stuck back when you were 14 years
Yes.
old, and you can never be an adult. You can never take responsibility for things in life anymore.
The reason,
Yeah, that's
Yes, thank you.
the reason many women choose me, they tell me, Artie, you're such a wonderful man. Can't believe you're still single.
true. Wait, how are they choosing you then?
Well, they want to choose me, but so here's the deal. When we go out with people, when I go out with women,
Yes.
okay, they've been so brainwashed or so used to men showing up in their, horniness, in that they want to go for the kiss, they want to sleep with them at night, they want to show them the best time, like just all superficial things, like just to get the dopamine up and show what a wonderful person I am, that they judge everyone based on that first date. Oh, he took me on a yacht. Everything I hear is very superficial. When they go out with me, because I've done my due diligence, I've probably chatted with them or talked to them on the phone for 3 weeks prior to our first date. It's no longer the, wow, who is this guy? He's mysterious. He has a Porsche and what does he do for a living? I show up as my authentic Artie. We call it AA. Double A. Beep, beep.
MCO.
I show up as authentic Artie. I no longer care about sweeping them off their feet with material things. I just talk and they get swept off their feet. They say, wow, you're so different than everyone else we've met. Mm-hmm. But then they don't know how to handle that. They don't know how to handle it because as society, you were told, okay, you got to have a man go nuts over you. They got to do this, going for the kiss, grab your
Are
ass.
you sure that it's all societal programming?
I don't know. Maybe it's traumas. Maybe it's whatever the heck.
What if it's not traumas or societal programming?
What could it be?
What if you're not meant to be with them?
Yeah, from a spiritual perspective, I get that. But I'm saying for most people who may not have that understanding, they've been programmed. And again, I've name dropped a few people. I could name drop a few more.
Yeah.
But they go in, they like me because I'm safe. They feel comfortable. Maybe it's because my mom raised us. I understand women better than most men. And then they kind of get turned off because this man is either too good to be true. He is not exciting in the sense of like he drives a Porsche and grabs my boob and just,
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if they aren't physically attracted to you?
Are
you coaching people to overlook physical chemistry and say, if you're not physically attracted to someone, force it anyway?
I didn't say force it.
I'm asking, I'm posing it as, is the legit advice then to tell women and potentially men, if you truly want connection, you need to ignore the fact that there isn't physical attraction and then push forward? You're not saying that.
No, I said
okay.
Physical attraction and chemistry is important to get it started.
Got it.
Right? You have to get it started. But to count on that, to maintain a certain level or actually up that every time, it's stupid. It's ludicrous.
Of course.
But most of these people that I've dated, because they go for the 1% men who have unlimited financial potential, disposable income, they are the bad boys. They know they can get whatever they want. It becomes very lucrative for some women in certain situations to get attracted to that and stay attracted to that, even though if it's toxic. I do say that initial attraction is very important. Like I would not swipe right on these people.
But how could you swipe? Well, no, that's not the
even
attraction
in
I talk
person.
about.
Even in person, when I see them.
Okay, that's what I mean. Because what if you're showing up there? I'm just leaving room for more variables than just they're programmed or they're stupid. What if there is actually a variable where they meet you in person and they're like, I'm not physically attracted?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. That's fine. That's 100% legitimate.
Okay.
Like that's the way chemistry. You have to be able to go out and kiss this person without having to gag, right?
Helpful.
That has to be helpful. But I'm just saying, for those people who do find me attractive or do find this chemistry, wow, this is interesting. I've never had someone like this before. They initiate usually the kiss. I don't. Because I usually wait 2 or 3 times to see what happens. They do that, and then they pull away. And to me, it's like, okay, well, the chemistry was there. I felt it, you felt it. What went wrong here? I think they either go back to past traumas, they go to past, situations. They don't believe it may be, sustaining long term. They get cold feet.
After the one kiss?
Yeah, because they see just how much deep we can go.
What's your take?
I think they're afraid of commitment. I think they're afraid of connection. Yeah. I think they're in it just for the quick chemistry thingy.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Kevin's right this time around. 100%.
You see? They're afraid of that. They're afraid to connect because they know it's going to take him in a different direction than what this date was all about, is to get laid.
What they were used to.
Wait a second. If it was to get laid, why aren't you laying one another?
No. Allow me to elaborate.
Please,
honey,
educate the innocent.
This young
child.
man, this young man goes not with the attitude of I want to get laid, but with I want to connect with this person. I want to see what they're all about before I even think about that. They're there with, oh my God, another guy. Oh yeah, maybe I'm gonna get late tonight. Okay, honey, how do I look? Okay, bye. I'm gonna be back at midnight, hopefully.
Who did they ask that question to? The maid?
The maid or the babysitter?
butler, the
the babysitter.
Got it.
So then they go out with this young man, and they're the whole time they're like thinking, oh yeah, I want some of that. And then when he starts, putting it on thick about all these connection things and wow, stuff he talks about is like not, common denominator crap, but he talks about like depth of, human emotions, about connections, about life, about kids. They're like, oh my God, but still, he's still attractive. He bought me dinner. Let me slip my tongue down their throat, which they do. Now, a part of them, like, they go home. They're like, oh shit, that was a great date, but fuck, man, I feel connected, but I don't want that because I'm going to miss out on the other 50 Joes that are swiping on me. Maybe I should just pull back right now because he's too serious and I'm not. So goodbye to that.
Yeah. I had that. Some person told me that.
Nicely done.
Some person who's not my friend.
Afk.
She told me, she's like, Ardi, not everyone shows up like you. Like, you're the only person who shows up the way you do. And I asked her, and I was telling her about my previous experiences. And this person is a woman that I'm friends with. I never went out with her, but she's very honest and brutal about things that I do. And Kevin's right on the money on this one. Right? She said, Ardi, no one shows up like you. They either show up very shy and timid and nervous, and they put you on the pedestal with like 200, compliments in the first hour that you're like, you don't even know me. Why do you keep saying, oh, you're so beautiful? Which, by the way, goes to show that everything is just physical attraction. It's skin deep. But it says, Ardi, you come in. No wonder women get scared of you, because you come in, you are a bit more, like, you already are past that. Like, this, the face, the ensemble doesn't phase you.
Yes, because you've already committed up here.
Whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I go beyond that. And she said, not a lot of women are used to that. Not a lot of women understand that. Not a lot of women are willing to give up this dating life for the real deal. Because that would mean I would have to get off Hinge, get off all these little, notifications that, hey, someone liked you. They would have to give that up. They would have to give up their circle of friends where they get together every Friday night and they drink 5 bottles of wine. They got to have to give that up. So not a lot of people are willing to, or they think they can keep up with you the way you talk and the way you are. But I think some of it is also my fault, because when I go in and I want to connect with someone so badly, maybe it goes to my own lacks. Like, I lack certain things for myself. I lack self-love. I lack certain things that I come on a bit too strong just to get that. Why do you keep doing that?
I think now we may be approaching a healthy, well-balanced, objective perspective.
I'm always objective.
Go on.
Listen, I put out the information first, and I go in and I become vulnerable with my objective opinions.
I love that.
Not opinions, facts.
Right.
So, one of the women I dated, yes, it was great. Yes, we had connection and chemistry and all that. But a few days later, she said, I don't want to do this. Because I was like getting ahead of myself. I was getting too ahead of myself because I came out of a divorce. Like, oh, I feel wanted in this relationship or in this dateship, situationship. I feel valued. I feel this and that. This must be the real deal. So for me to have that, and I asked her after she said, I can't see you, I called her, I said, please let me know why. Because I want to know what I'm doing wrong. And so she was gracious enough to leave me a long voicemail saying, these are the reasons why. And I looked at that, and I looked at myself in the mirror that day. I literally looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, let me read this, transcription of the voicemail. And I read it to myself. I'm like, she's absolutely right. I showed up too much. I showed up with too much expectations, too much of everything. And that could be a sign of me. And when I say, oh, I think I'm having feelings for this person, that's because like I was lacking certain things for myself. And I'm like, oh, she can provide that for me. She's the missing piece to my puzzle. It wasn't like I was overflowing with love and she was overflowing with love and we had enough to give each other. It was me lacking it and she maybe lacked certain things. And that was like a symbiotic relationship kind of a.
Two things.
Yeah.
Number one, in Persian, we have a saying that the pigeon goes with the pigeon, the eagle goes with the eagle. Okay?
Birds
So
of
if
a
you
feather.
Flocketh
flock
together.
together. So if you show up like Tony Robbins and they're just a peon, obviously they're going to get intimidated and say, oh, holy shit, this guy's way too intense. Right? Number one. Going back to Tony Robbins, the name I just dropped.
TR.
Remember like a year or a year and a half ago, I said when you go on these dates or when you're swiping, don't put out all these Tony Robbins one-liners. Seriously, like it becomes like, holy shit, what am I signing up for? Like, do I have to keep up with that? Like the first date is going to be about, mind games and all these things you throw out.
It's too much intensity.
Yeah, you have to match their energy. Start with just common denominator shit and slowly
Ramp it up.
Yeah.
That's the art of seduction. Because unfortunately, as my good friend
That's a book, right?
was just telling me last week, yes, sometimes too much intensity can come across as desperation.
Yeah.
And that is unfortunately the biggest boner killer, irrespective of the gender of the other person. It's like, because then you feel like you're going to have to live the rest of
Yeah.
your life in this dynamic as the medicine that this person needs to be stimulated, to feel fulfilled, to be entertained, to be engaged, to be aroused. And it's like, I'll just see myself right the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't ever feel like you have to entertain. Don't ever feel like you have to educate unless you asked for it. And when the time is right. I think when you go out on these dates or used to in the beginning, you wanted to impress, and that was who you were. And you did not have a off button. Okay? And you would
I still don't.
but you would like say all these things that are like, wow, so thought provoking, but it's not appropriate for that
Yeah,
time.
what do we do with this? Too much intensity
Yeah.
increases the density.
Of what?
The
Not
distance
sure.
between the two people.
The density of the distance between. Yeah.
Okay, well
that
said.
makes sense.
Distance.
I'm going to leave this out on the table for you two.
Thank you.
You guys can take a look at it and then we can call it a day, or you guys can argue with me all you want.
Oh, sweet.
But if you don't show your true colors, okay, if I could, I know I'm intense. I know I sit in this chair for a reason, right? Because I'm outspoken and I'm the objective one. And I know not a lot of people will gravitate towards that, especially if I'm dating someone. They're like, this guy wants to da-da-da. But I kind of feel like what Tony Robbins would feel in this dynamic of his relationship with his wife. Sage. In that I want to be authentic to me and my thoughts, and whatever spills out, it spills out. The same woman who told me, Ardi, you're kind of, intense or whatever, she told me something that it kind of stuck with me, but I hope it's not true. It said that most women, and she was talking about women that maybe she can relate to, not all women, but she said, when you go into a conversation and you know more about everything, you know more about like different dynamics because you've listened to podcasts and you read books and all that. Most women feel intimidated by that. They feel like you're going to psychoanalyze them. You're going to judge them. You're going to peg them against the research that you've read and now understood. And that may feel them like less than what they came to the table with. Now, that's why they walk away, because they say, oh, shoot, I walked into, physics 205, whereas I was looking for physics 101, right? And that to them, it's scary. That's why they pull back and they retract and they go back to what they're comfortable with, the physics 101, the main level men who have simple ideas, who don't judge them based on a series of criteria that they've learned into their, through podcasts and through books, and they're not judging them.
Well, that's a very flattering take. I have a different
No,
one.
let's just keep it at that.
So here's my thought. an intense personality, which I myself happen to be. I'm an artist, I'm a creative, I'm a performer. Triple threat of bullshit. And if I don't watch out, everything becomes the Amanda show. I think another take that these women or other people may have when it comes to an intense personality like myself is that people don't always want to be an audience member.
Yeah.
They don't always want to sit across from the table and go, oh yeah, wow, that's so amazing.
You're so
Oh,
smart.
you're so smart. You're so funny. It's like, blow my brains out.
Yeah.
That's another reason to go back to the average schmo, not that there's anything wrong with them, because you don't have to be, oh yes, my great Lord. Oh, great wise one. You can just be whatever. Annoyance is another reason, not intimidation. I'd say intimidation's one, but I'd say annoyance. I can be annoying as shit. I must acknowledge that in order to be a good friend and a good partner and cap myself off from being known as Amanda the asshole, which believe it or not, there was a time in my life.
Really, you the asshole.
Me the asshole.
Reminds me of Robert Duvall. Was that the name, Robert Duvall? Is that the guy who did Colors?
I think so.
Hodges?
With
My guy, Sean Penn.
Sean Penn.
Penn.
So Duvall told the young Sean
Sean Penn,
Penn one day, said, hey, story of a bull and his son. They're watching cows graze
down in the meadow.
and they're on top of the hill. And the son says, wow, Dad, look at all those cows. Let's run down there and fuck them all. Fuck one of them. I fucked it up. Fuck one of them.
You fucked it up.
The dad says, no, let's walk down there and fuck them all. Like if you want to go catch a little kitty cat stuck in a tree, you don't just like run towards it, come here and just try to dive and grab it. It's going to run away. If you go, little kitty, come here.
Milky.
Seduction.
So you have to learn that in the beginning, you cannot
Blow your
dive
load.
there and try to.
You're going to get banned by YouTube, you know.
You can't. You can't. And you shouldn't. Like she said, not everybody's there to be educated. It's not a classroom. They didn't sign up for a classroom. They signed up to go out with the guy. You ask questions, they ask questions. You don't seem like you're smarter than them. You should not at least.
Yeah. So unlike what you guys think, like I don't go there putting a Tony Robbins, seminar.
I don't think you do that
No.
anymore.
But
But-
you give that vibe. though.
Anymore.
But listen, we go out here. Okay, let me paint this picture before we
Paint it.
give the audience something to.
Go ahead, Bob
Think
Ross.
I pick them up, okay,
Physically?
very kindly. No, I go there, I pick them up, I ring the doorbell. Hello,
Bing, bing.
I'm here for the date. Ha ha ha! Come on in. No, I'm good. Do you have a bathroom I could use? Sure, come on in.
What
take a
happens in
pee.
there?
Well, if I have to go to Los Angeles area
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
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 for a
yeah,
date,
for sure.
Got it.
Yeah.
I gotta use a bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay. But because I've talked to them for 3-4 weeks prior to the date, we're now on like friendly terms. Like, come on in. Don't mind the panties, drying on the
Yeah.
shower rack.
Wow.
I go in there and then we come out, we drive. On the drive, I ask her how the day was, how your kids are doing if she has kids. How was work like this week? Any interesting things happen? Da, da, da. It's not like, okay, let's all put our hands in the air, talk about, Okay, we get to lunch, dinner, whatever the heck it is. We talk about interesting stories, like how was your week? Oh, do you believe in aliens? Oh my God, I gotta tell you something cool. If they ask a question about, or they bring up something about their past, or they talk about, a difficult client or a difficult whatever, and they ask me, what do you think? That's when I go into Tony Robbins mode. And I don't necessarily try to educate them. I try to look at something from a different perspective. And they often find that perspective of mine very refreshing because it wasn't like, oh yeah, you go girl.
How do you know that?
They've told me. They said we weren't thinking of it like that. But the way you came out is very mature, very interesting way to look at things. Yeah, a rejection is a redirection. It isn't like, something you did bad, but the universe or the God trying to, save you from something. That's as far as I go. I don't go in like, quoting, Eckhart Tolle.
I believe in the beginning you would.
In the beginning, I would. The first couple of
Okay.
days I went out.
Way back in the day.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you've matured. In the beginning, you were all about, let me tell them what's in my mind.
Objective.
Very objective. And you would turn off people.
I understood that didn't work.
Got it.
That didn't work.
So now,
That
as you
material didn't work.
also you change your taste. Your taste changed.
Yeah, I went from the empowered jawline, fucked up eyebrow woman to a kind, collected, and
rounded jaw.
Rounded jaw.
Yeah. Softer features.
And
so then
more
you
of a
realize
straight eyebrows.
realized that maybe in the beginning you were preaching to the jawliners, okay, and they're like, wait a second, that's my job to be a jawliner, not this guy. What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah.
And now as time goes on, you're going with the softer jawlines. And when you speak at the appropriate time, it's like, wow, that's a good perspective.
That's what I do.
And can
Master.
it be that in the early days when you were cultivating your persona,
You're
and
rusty,
putting
dude.
on a little bit of a show,
I was.
you were attracting individuals who are doing the exact same thing? Can it be? Because like
Of course it
attracts
is.
like?
Of course. Like he said, the, birds of a feather
Flocketh together.
flocketh together. It was, I'm going to leave you guys with this. I'm leaving you guys with a lot of
wisdom.
wisdom.
Pearls.
But as last week I was driving back my ex-wife from the airport, LAX. She said, Artie, I have a question for you. I hope it's not too personal. I'm like, nothing's too personal between us. She said, can I ask you why you are looking for an empowered woman? Because her idea of empowered women is more right on point than what I thought empowered meant. I thought independence and being able to stand on their own feet is empowerment, which in a way it is. I'm not saying it's not. But she said the way that I know empowerment is women who say, we don't need men. We're going to be bored with just one man, in our life. After 3 months, he's got to go. He's got to make a lot more money than I do. He's got to be a world traveler. He's got to want to jump on a private jet every 2 weeks and go to Aruba or Paris or whatever. He's like, are you really after that kind of a woman? Or are you after someone who is small business owner or works somewhere 9 to 5, doesn't matter. But as long as they bring themselves home and they are authentic and they are fun and they are funny and they are kind,
Caring,
and they're caring, and they don't care if that night you guys are going to have chili with, stale bread. That's the kind of woman you want. Not the one who needs a 5-star restaurant every night.
Constant entertainment.
Constantly, upping their game and their cars and their jets because that's what they see value in. I said, you're absolutely right. I do not see value in that. So I said, let's go back to the roots of Artie. Not the kind that wants the empowered jawline person, but the one that's actually kind and caring.
Is it okay if that person wore a Mickey Mouse shirt?
Or drove a
Absolutely.
Prius?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can wear.
Maturation
You
has
can
occurred.
have whatever. Like, those are your hobbies. That's your car that you prefer. Like, who am I to say it's bad?
So well said.
Wow. It doesn't matter what race they are, what age they're. Like, those are all like.
What age? Huh?
What
As long as they're not lying about it.
What matters is your soul. You have a kind soul. You have a nurturing soul. You have a soul that wants to bond and connect and grow together. That's all that matters. All that shit is bullshit, man. You leave Earth naked. You come to the Earth naked. You can't take nothing with you. You come with nothing. Like, why are we making this a whole shebang? Oh, you got to have 6-figure salary. You got to have this. You got to have that. You got to have Botox. That's all like monkey business to me.
Well said.
Call Frederick.
Triple Shot Mindset.